Hello, everyone. Yesterday was the third time in a row that the Feds didn't raise the Fed fund rate. So are we going to a pause on this official end, hopefully, of tightening cycle? Right now, the Fed fund rate is 5.5, and it's the highest it's been since 2001. And we've had 11 rate increases during this cycle. So now that we're going through this so-called pause, the market is saying, hey, there's a hypothesis that the Feds could cut rates more aggressively in 2024. So what's the Fed fund rate? Well, that's the rate banks charge each other for loans that are used to hit reserve requirements. So when we're a year, 2 years ago, really in the beginning of COVID, would you believe that the Feds changed the reserve requirements to zero, which means they didn't have to have all that money in the bank, right? Because FDIC says, hey, I insure your account up to $100,000, which means the banks are supposed to have that money in reserves. Well, now that they're tightening up these cycles, now the banks have to have that money in it. If they do not have that, then they have to go get money from elsewhere. And hence, that's where the Fed fund rate comes in. So when the Feds make it more expensive for the banks to borrow, right, then what happens? They always pass it on to the consumer. And as a result, interest rates go up, right, to include short-term credit, mortgage as well. So what we need to know is that could it be harder as we see, hopefully they're done with hiking, right? But the purpose of them increasing the rate was to get inflation down to 2%. And right now, they've slowed down the economy, but we're not going through a recession, right? So the greater expectations are rates are going to be cut in 2024, right? And as of November, right now, the market is happy with what's happening with the Fed's announcement. So now that they signaled, no, we're hoping that we're going to get 3 cuts in 2024. So what's interesting to know is that the Fed stated that, hey, we're not going to take the 2024 election into consideration. The U.S. is not in a recession. However, they're expecting an economic soft landing because, right, they were very adamant. We're going to get inflation down to here, and we don't care what we got to do. I'm glad they're changing their minds. And then Powell confirms Feds has likely finished raising rates. Thank you so much. If you need anything, feel free to call, comment on the video, 619-846-2675. Happy holidays.